Because if not, these corporations do whatever they want to do. And you know, one of the main characteristics of globalization is that the capital flows, capital moves, and trade unions stay at the national level. And as long as we don't understand this, how it functions, I'm sorry, we're fucked.
He would get up every morning at 5 a.m. and take out his wallet, and there's 15 business cards in there of all the different temp agencies he has to call to get a job. Okay, that morning at 5 a.m. And of course he calls, and every agency has like a shape-up, like they used to do on the docks before longshoremen got organized. So they basically have a virtual gang of workers waiting for jobs every morning, and they can pick and choose who gets a job. You just never really know. So in good times, in boom times, you could get a shift, maybe a couple weeks, maybe a couple months at a given warehouse. So this guy, he was finding work. Anyways, he comes to our meeting and he gets up and he talks about how that night he was going to go through dumpsters to find food to bring home to his daughter, to feed her, and he was going to lie about it to her because otherwise, she wouldn't eat the food. And no one in the room was shocked by this. All these workers seem to live with this every day.
So to the extent that there's evidence of what Walmart's doing in terms of actual supply chain management, what it's doing is at absolute cross purposes to all of the promises and pledges it's making about corporate social responsibility.
People that, what you're getting at Walmart or what you think you're getting for a low price, there's actually huge hidden costs within that. So if, for example, you're saying, well, I'm getting a cheaper TV or I'm getting a cheaper, basket of groceries or whatever, but in fact a lot of the people in a Walmart store, in one given community, they may be on Medicaid, so they may actually have their healthcare paid for by the state. That's your tax dollars, which you're paying to another means to go in. A lot of states, and I mean we've seen this before, where Walmart can play off the city limits against a county to decide where they're going to locate a store, and equally they may get subsidization to go in and do that. And again, you have a situation where people might look at that and say, well, I may think I'm getting a cheap good in Walmart, but in fact, what's happening is that maybe my husband will lose his job because he supplies to the local economy, and on top of that, then I'm going to get hit with my taxes, or my kids' after-school program is going to be cut.
If brands and retailers generally wanted to improve conditions for workers, what would they do? Well, Michael touched on this. First and foremost, they would pay a price to their contract suppliers that actually makes it possible for those suppliers to produce in compliance with the applicable labor standards. Put another way, they would not force their suppliers to accept prices so low that the only possible way the suppliers can meet the price is to abuse their workforce. And yet, over the last 15 years, we've seen, not only have we not seen prices rising at the factory door in the apparel sector, we've seen prices year by year dropping at the factory door. And Walmart, of course, has been the greatest culprit.
I think there's a need for it, for people to understand and know what's happening in today's society with globalization surrounding Walmart, the capitalism, the corporate greed out there. I think what happens is more and more people, what's happening to our jobs is we're losing our good and fair-paying jobs, and it's decreasing the good-paying jobs that we have right now.
How do you think that a person who's not directly related to Walmart or a union, how can they make a difference?
Well, what's going to make a difference is we don't want the doors to close. We don't want Walmart to close their doors because that affects the workers of today, right? The workers that are actually working in their stores. We want to make sure that Walmart understands that, what they're doing to these employees, right? And we want the public to understand and to be aware of what's happening, right? So the public needs to be aware of it. It's not just about the door knocking, but it's to get involved, right? And that's what we're trying to do as an organization, as UFCW Canada. We're actually trying to get out more. We're trying to, build this website with the GEE20.ca. They can find out information. There's lots of information out there. There's websites available. People can get in touch, and they need to start becoming aware of what's happening.